When was the moment you realized that your friends are assholes? When I started hanging out with better people. I let my friend borrow my PS2 when I went to boot camp. When I came back, he said he sold it and gave me $50, I think. This was in 2006. When I quit drinking 'cause it was killing me. There were people I literally saw every single day who just disappeared as if by magic. 12 years ago this week. As it happens. Just one. When he propositioned my girlfriend to have sex with him under the guise of making sure she was being faithful to me. When they robbed me at gunpoint. When he does shit to me and acts like it's no big deal, then I do the same back and he gets offended. Which Mandela effect freaks you out the most and why? I Mandela effected my whole family once. Years ago there was a football player on a rival team that always did a dumb celebration after he got a sack in my family and I always hated it. One night after he did it my family started trashing the celebration and I said as a joke, we are all going to feel terrible when we find out he is doing that celebration as a request from a Make-A-Wish kid. Fast forward to years later and our team is playing that team again. The player got a sack and did the celebration. I rolled my eyes and said, I hate that celebration so much. My mom instantly turned and said, don't say that he is doing it for a sick kid. I actually like it, so I was like, what? No, there is no sick kid. My whole family then proceeded to argue with me. They all vividly remembered reading articles about it, seeing special report segments before games about it, and other information. Some of them even thought they knew the disease the kid had and even extra details about why the kid chose that specific celebration. They all had these shared memories that they were sure were true. I was floored by all this and insisted none of that was true. So we looked it up. Not true. No kid like that ever existed. They still have trouble wrapping their heads around this one. Turned out human memory is not near as reliable as we think. Edit. It was American football and the player was Jared Allen of the Minnesota Vikings and his cattle roping sack celebration. This was maybe 10 years ago. That the Fruit of the Loom logo never had a cornucopia. What's crazy about that one is that someone emailed the creator of the logo about it and he said even he remembers it having one. Not a global one. Just a family thing. Back in 2002 my grandma had her 60th birthday. My father took us home at 10 p.m. Ready for bed. Me and brother, were 12 and 14 at this time. All went well. Over the years, a story was made up. Nelson? That we went missing after visiting the local playground after dinner at said grandma's birthday party. Some neighbors helped to search us. The whole train of missing children in a small village, thin. Fun fact. We never went missing. Dad brought us home, put on Toy Story on TV and left. My brother and I heard first about this in 2015. From different people on different occasions. You're one of the missing boys. I first thought they were mocking me for a different event I got lost. But it was 2013. Alcohol inflicted. Different story. But then they all tell us the same story about us going missing. And the stories are damn close to true. In every story my mum is driving around the same neighbors to different locations to search. Old vineyard, old mill, etc. Sometimes I think I got lost on the most brutal way. I was lost and changed this plane of existence with another one. It sometimes made me think about my whole life. Edit. Clarified that birthday and gone missing were the same day. Just had one personally. Went to a mall where there was supposedly a gym. Asked around and nobody that worked at the mall knew what I was talking about. Looked around and couldn't find it. Come back a few months later and it's right there in front of my face. You'd have to be strung out to not notice it. IDK how or when it just appeared, but it freaked me out. Take My Strong Hand, from the Scary Movie franchise. I know he said it. Me and my friends would quote it at each other during school. Multiple other friends have the same memories but went to different schools, so I know it's not just my friendship group that go it wrong. The fact that it's Febreze not Febreze gets me. In the United States, what should you never do? Don't try to bribe cops when you get pulled over. I had some Argentinian friends immediately pull out their wallets and start pooling their cash when they got pulled over once. Fortunately, someone in the car noticed and told them to put it away immediately. If you're from England, they're called *** cigarettes * here. Don't fly a drone in Washington, D.C. The whole D.C. area is a no-fly zone. It's a federal offense. Just don't do it. Everyone, including foreigners, has the right to be silent and have a lawyer when being questioned. Don't say anything. Also, even if you speak English fairly well, ask for an interpreter. Don't road rage, people are armed. Underestimate how huge the US is. If you plan on driving, it can take hours to not even get halfway across some states. Which profession unfairly gets a bad rap? Gastroenterologists get a bad rap because assholes are gross and who would want to spend time there? But these guys save lives. Janitors. Give them respect. People. Unless you want to empty your own trash and clean your own work or school space. Seriously. Being nice to the janitor saved my tail one time when I was locked out of a room that contained some vital work material. The big boss didn't have keys to that room. But guess who did? I was a cleaner. People used to treat me like furniture and assumed all kinds of things about me. That was the best paying job I ever held. With the best benefits. And most vacation. I went back to school for a more dignified career. And my dignified job sitting at a desk ended up being worse in every way. Garbage men. They keep the entire fucking city functioning. They work hard. They get paid well. Worse things to be than an integral part of society. Plumbers. People always assume they're gross, greasy old dudes, but really they're extremely skilled professionals. Embalmers. Thankless job. People think they are creepy, but who else would do that? What brand do automatically associate with being shit? Roseart and Crazyart. Worst quality coloring supplies I've ever used. I wouldn't even get them for my toddler nephew. CenturyLink. We don't care, we don't have to, we're the phone company. Pretty much any celebrity brand. Acme. Wile E. Coyote really needs to find a different supplier. The Cornballer. Anything the Kardashians, Jenners try to sell, including their products. They're all snake oil salesmen. Which animal gets undeserving hate? Bats. They eat billions of insects. You should be thanking them. Vultures. Eating dead bodies might seem ugly to some, but other animals do the same thing but also murder them. So how is just finding something that's already dead and eating that worse? Also, eating a carcass removes deadly diseases like botulism from the environment. Blobfish. They just get yeeted out of the water and the massive pressure difference makes them look strange. Kinda rude, I guess. Like if we get yeeted into space and aliens would laugh at our disfigured forms and print t-shirts of it. Hyenas, partially because a whole generation grew up watching them help kill Mufasa lol. Vultures. They do nothing wrong. They barely attack people and they clear the streets of dead animals by eating them up. If it wasn't for them, our streets would smell like doo-doo sewers, and eating dead bodies lessers the chances of diseases spreading from them. Also, they're cute and they're friendly. They don't attack people. Sharks. Indigenous people of Reddit. How would you like your culture to be represented? And what facts are significant to write into media for better representation? Native American here. I'd like to see all of our languages preserved and spoken by the younger generations. Not Native American but Native Australian here. I'd just like to see more acknowledgement of the atrocities that happened to my people, like genocide happening until the 1900s and trying to breed us out of existence until the 60s, 70s. What usually happens is media either downplays it or ignores it completely, only showing or talking about the general racism like beating and name-calling. Tanzi niwa koma kantik ekwa nitotamtik. Wawa keshiwi sakaha kan ochi nia. I can't speak for all nations. Or even all from my nation. Stop asking how native, or what generation we are. Blood quantum is a concept created by slave owners and governments to dictate who was white enough. If one drop was enough to exclude someone, then it's enough to include them now. Our children who were stolen and continue to be stolen and raised with no knowledge of their culture are just as indigenous as those who are carded and live in the settlements or reserves. The only ones allowed to dictate who is a member of our community is our community. It's not like it's my nose or my elbow that's indigenous. I'm not part. I am Inca Indian here. I was born and lived in the USA my entire life, but I'm Inca Indian. I would like for the media and just society in general in the States to realize that there are more than just Native North Americans. Native Americans are throughout Canadian, North, Central, and South American lands. We're all Indigenous people, and we were all colonized and treated brutally by our colonizers for centuries. Indigenous to where? Represented by whom? I get mildly irked by the fact foreigners think our entire country is inhabited by Glaswegians. Of all things. Despite my lot being an entirely different ethnic group who were here first by a good margin. But all live. Partially native here. I would like to see more inclusion. My great-great-grandmother was raped by a German and now I'm not native enough for any tribe. Haven't been since my great-grandmother was born. Subscribe, my brothers.